everyone, welcome back to the channel. How y'all doing? It's your girl Philly Phil. Thank you all for joining. Make sure you hit the like button, share this video out. All right, we are ready to continue the reading of the Murdaugh murders, uncovering the dark underbelly of Southern elite society. We will begin with chapter 7. The legal battles begins. Prosecutors build a case against Alex Murdaugh. As the investigation into the murders of Maggie and Paul Murdaugh progressed, attention quickly turned to the Murdaugh family's patriarch, Alex Murdaugh. Initially seen as a grieving father and husband, Alex soon found himself at the center of a web of suspicion and allegations. As more details about the murders emerged, it became clear that the case was far from simple. The killings appeared to have been carried out with a great deal of planning and precision, leading investigators to believe that the perpetrator or perpetrators were intimately familiar with the family and their routines. You know what? That means it looked like a personal crime scene. It was something personal. It wasn't just a routine murking. All right. It goes on to say, as a result, Alex Murdaugh quickly became a person of interest in the investigation. In the months that followed, prosecutors began building a case against Alex, gathering evidence and conducting interviews in an effort to uncover the truth about the murders and Alex's alleged role in them. Key pieces of evidence included DNA samples taken from the crime scene, surveillance footage, and financial records that appeared to implicate Alex in a complex web of fraud and deception. As the evidence against him mounted, Alex found himself in an increasingly dire straits. In September of 2021, he was arrested and charged with multiple counts of insurance fraud, conspiracy to commit insurance fraud, and filing a false police report. My. You know, and we know a little bit something about insurance frauds from those of you who watched me cover the Tim Norman case. If you're new to this channel, I covered it from top to bottom. That man, Tim Norman, had his nephew set up to have his life taken, all for an insurance policy of $450,000, which he did not collect. Please check that out. Check out my videos on that, okay? It says here, these charges represented the first formal legal action taken against Alex in connection with the murders and were seen as a major milestone in the ongoing investigation. Despite the charges against him, Alex has maintained his innocence, and his legal team has vigorously defended him against the allegations. However, the weight of the evidence against him has left many wondering whether he will ultimately be held accountable for his alleged actions. And we all know that he was found guilty of those charges. This book, as I said before in the first reading, was written prior to him being found guilty. The legal battle surrounding Alex Murdaugh and the murders of Maggie and Paul has been complex and highly charged. As the investigation continues, prosecutors and defense attorneys alike will be working tirelessly to uncover the truth and secure justice for the victims and their families. Ultimately, the outcome of the case will have far-reaching implications for the Murdaugh family, the legal system in South Carolina, and the community as a whole. All right, guys, let's move on to chapter 8. The title is The Trial, Testimony, Evidence, and the Search for Truth. This chapter focuses on the trial of Alex Murdaugh, which took place following his arrest and charges related to insurance fraud and conspiracy to commit insurance fraud. The trial was seen as the first step in building a case against him in connection with the murders of his wife and son. During the trial, prosecutors presented evidence that Alex Murdaugh had taken out multiple life insurance policies on his son, Paul, and named himself as the beneficiary. You know, Alex, that is just low down to do that to your own son. My. They also alleged that he had conspired with others to stage a boating accident that resulted in Paul's demise in order to collect on the insurance policies. So they're saying that that boating accident he wanted it to result in Paul's demise? It says, in addition to the insurance fraud charges, prosecutors also presented evidence of financial fraud and embezzlement on the part of Alex Murdaugh. They alleged that he had stolen millions of dollars from his own law firm, using the funds to support a lavish lifestyle and cover up his fraudulent activities. Throughout the trial, the defense team argued that Alex Murdaugh had been unfairly targeted by prosecutors and had been subject to a rush to judgment by law enforcement officials. They maintained his innocence and denied any involvement in the murders of his wife and son. As the trial progressed, witnesses were called to testify about their interactions with Alex Murdaugh and the events leading up to the deaths of Maggie and Paul. Evidence was presented, including financial records and communication between Alex and his alleged co-conspirators. The trial lasted several weeks, and ultimately the jury found Alex Murdaugh guilty on multiple counts of insurance fraud, conspiracy to commit insurance fraud, and filing a false police report. He was sentenced to 20 years in prison. The trial of Alex Murdaugh was closely watched by legal experts, media outlets, and the general public. Many saw it as a pivotal moment in the ongoing investigation into the deaths of Maggie and Paul, and a key step in the pursuit of justice for the victims and their families. In the aftermath of the trial, questions continue to linger about Alex Murdaugh's alleged involvement in the murders and the broader implications of the case for the Murdaugh family, the legal system in South Carolina, and the wider community. All right, that's the end of chapter 8. We will begin the next reading with chapter 9, which is titled The Verdict, the Jury's Decisions and Its Implications. All right, guys. Well, that was the readings of chapter 7 and 8. What we're going to do now, we're going to play a little bit of the phone calls, recorded jail calls between Alex and family members. Okay, let's get to it.
You would assume, or at least the lawyers assume, that if they weren't going to do something, they would just let it sit. But I mean, I don't get my hopes up, but they seem to have their hopes up.
I hear you.
It would seem that Dick and Jim did get Alex's hopes up over nothing. Spoiler alert. The Supreme Court denied the writ of habeas corpus in January after Judge Lee set Alex's bond at $7 million. It is interesting to note that Dick and Jim thought they had a shot with the Supreme Court, and it makes you wonder why they had that assurance. Anyways, on a phone call, Buster then tells Alec that John Marvin is trying to get his guns back from the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, also known as SLED.
What else did he tell John?
John said that he was going to talk to me about something, but said he'd rather talk to me about it in person. That's probably what it was.
No, that wouldn't be it. That wouldn't make sense. Why you want to talk to you about that in person?
But mostly, I've had John calling David Owens every day to try to get my guns back. And prior to Thanksgiving, David Owens said that we could have them back, and then today he said we couldn't have them back. So that's what John was calling to tell me. And then he called and told Jim what David Owens said about not being able to get them.
Wonder why.
John said that he used the language out of an abundance of caution, and then John said, well, have you not run the ballistics on them? And apparently he was like, no, we have. And he was like, well, were these guns used in the crime? And they were like, no. And I was like, and he was like, well, why can't we have them back? So I don't know. I've just been trying to get some of my stuff back.
From this conversation, it sounds like Alec is trying to sell off expensive tools and machinery so that the victims can't claim them as assets. In October, Alec's brother Randy filed a lawsuit claiming that Alec owed him $90,000 and wrote in the suit that he had been paid back in part by equipment that Buster had signed over to him.
Hey, John Marvin needs to go. You know that vacuum packer that John Marvin lent us to send the skinning shed?
No, that huge one?
Yeah, he needs to go pick that up.
Okay.
Before they, take it.
And let me say that we are using this information from this Murdaugh's podcast under the Fair Use Act, under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, commentary, and news reporting, which is what we're doing. So make sure you all go over to that podcast and subscribe. Okay, they have a lot of good information. All right, let's continue to listen to some more of these phone calls from the jail. Between Alex and his son Buster.
Think it's mine.
Yeah.
Paul had borrowed it, and there's a bunch of John Marvin's tools in the shop. I told him he needs to get out. All those Milwaukee tools, all those jacks, all that stuff Paul borrowed, and I borrowed a lot of it too.
Yeah, we're gonna go. We're gonna be down in Greenfield this weekend hunting quail, and he talked about going over the Moselle and getting some of that stuff.
Then Alex starts asking questions about Blanca. According to sources, Blanca was Maggie's housekeeper at the Edisto Beach House, where Maggie was staying by herself before the murders.
Next time you're on the phone.
I'll have a pen and paper.
But she's got a
call Blanca for me?
No, I still haven't called Blanca. I keep forgetting to call Blanca.
Okay, do you want me to get somebody else to do it?
No, I mean, I'm fine to do it. It's just, I don't know. For some reason, I keep forgetting.
Okay, well, are you going to remember for me? Because I'd like to call her soon. And I don't mind getting somebody else to do it. I know you got a lot going on.
No, I mean, do you have Blanca's number?
No, that's what I said. I told you I got to get her number, and I wanted you to let her know I'm going to be calling and make sure that she's good with that, number one. And number two, kind of tell her what she's got to do.
Simple. That's all. Yeah, I'll reach
out. Will you please do that in the morning?
Yes.
And will you please tell her that I'd asked you to do it before Thanksgiving and you just had a lot going on and forgot?
Yep.
You promise?
I promise I'm going to try, bro.
All right. I just
I feel confident that I should remember tomorrow.
I know you had said you didn't really want to, I mean, she had irritated you, and if you don't want to call her, I promise you I'll get Lizzie or Grandma or somebody else.
Now, you know, this lady, the housekeeper, also testified in the case. Let me see if I can pull that up.
Defendant Alex Murdaugh tell you which way to go when you got to the house?
He said him and Buster were at Alameda. So I told them I was going to Alameda. You know, I wanted to make sure they were okay. And so I went from my house to Alameda. And then when I got ready to leave Alameda, he said, well, when you go to the house, go in the front because there's a lot of sled agents by the kennels. You can't go in that way. And he said, just try to straighten up the way Maggie liked everything, you know, in the house. He said, you knew her the best. He said, you know how she likes stuff. So I did. I went to the house.
So you went to
I went into Moselle from Alameda
to start with.
Yes, I did, to check on my Buster and Alec.
To comfort him.
Yes, sir.
And at his request, you went to Moselle to start cleaning up and getting the house in order?
Yes, sir. He said there was going to be people probably stopping by and bringing food and stuff. He said, I just want the house to look the way Maggie would like for it to look. So I said, okay. And I went to the house.
Did you have a usual way that you went in to Moselle, entrance-wise?
From the house, I would, if I was coming from my house, I would come in on the, I call it the Miley's side. So I would actually enter the property through the kennels. And if I was coming from Hampton or if I, you know, in the other direction, then I would use the front entrance. But normally I use the kennel entrance coming from my house.
When you got to Moselle, we're now on the morning of June 8th, right? 2021.
Yes, sir.
Did you see anybody in the property before you got to the main house?
No, sir.
And when you got to the main house, take us right there. Like right now as you're walking in the house, what were your observations?
It was hard because I know she wasn't going to be coming back. And I didn't want to move her stuff. It was just a weird feeling going through when I unlocked the front door to get in. It felt cold.
You really cared for her, didn't you?
I did.
Look at Alex.
What'd you do when you got inside?
When I got inside, I didn't turn on any lights. I didn't do anything. I walked through the front door and I went in the kitchen. And I was kind of, when I looked in the kitchen, I kind of just stopped in my tracks and I looked at the stove, and I was kind of, I don't know what the word is. When I looked and I noticed the stove, that there was no pots on the stove, it was kind of unusual, because usually when they ate dinner the night before, the pots usually stayed on the stove. Very, very seldom would she put, certain meals in the refrigerator. A lot of times it was just left on the stove until the next day. And the pots were not in the sink, and they were not on the stove.
Where were they?
And then as I walked through, if you walk through the kitchen, like you're going to, from the kitchen, if you walk through the kitchen, if you go to the left, there's two freezer and a refrigerator, and the laundry room sat right there to the left. There's a back door to the back porch, and then there's the laundry room door. They're both right there. And as I turned to go to the laundry room, I noticed that her pajamas were in the middle of the doorway, right in the middle, laid neatly in the middle of the doorway going into the laundry room.
Why?
It was her pajama pants, a pair of underwear, and her pajama top.
Was that unusual?
That was very unusual.
Look at her.
Because she wouldn't lay her clothes out like that, not in the middle of the door like that. It just didn't look right to me.
And you took care of the house.
Yes.
You took care of the clothes.
Yes.
And not to get too personal, but sometimes you can't help it. Were the underwear there with the pajamas unusual?
Yes.
Why?
She didn't wear underwear with her pajamas.
No underwear with pajamas. But that struck you.
No underclothes with the pajamas.
But that struck you as unusual. They were there with the pajamas.
Why would
Yes, sir, because the underwear appeared to be clean, not dirty. They still had like fold marks.
This man is weird. We know he's been found guilty and is going to serve life, but this man is, oh my goodness, he's a cold-hearted killer of his wife and son.
And the pots, and I may have just missed it. You said, where would the pots end up when you found them?
After I looked at the pajamas on the floor, the way that they were set, I turned around and I said, well, I wonder where the pots are. So I opened the refrigerator door, and the pots were sitting inside the refrigerator with lids on them.
He did it.
And I was like,
Maggie didn't do that.
Who did this? I don't know at that point, but that was not normal for the whole pot to be sitting in the fridge.
Did you make any other observations in the house, the bathroom, or anywhere else?
In the master bathroom was her clothes were sitting next to the tub. It was a small pile of clothes right there next to the tub. And by the shower, if you walk in the master bedroom, there's a big garden tub, spa type tub. And then right here is the shower, and there's a window. On the floor next to the shower was a slight puddle of water, a towel, and a pair of khaki pants. And then as I went to the left to see if there was anything else.
I mean, look at him. He's sitting there as if he has done nothing wrong. And guys, now that he's in prison, he shaved all of his hair off his head. I guess he just wanted to look. I mean, right here, he had a head full of hair. It's not like he was balding or anything. I wonder what made him do that.
Else that was out. I looked in the closet, and in the closet was a white damp towel on the floor, and there was I'm pretty sure the T-shirt was white at one time, but you know they get kind of dingy after a few years. But that it appeared that a T-shirt had fallen off of the stack of T-shirts that were on top of the shelf right there in the closet. It was laying on the floor next to the towel.
When you took care of the home, was that, tell us how the clothes were laid out, the shirts, the shorts, were you saying up on a shelf, or shirts? How were they?
In the closet, there was a shelf. There was some shelves.
And you know, for those of us that are lucky enough to have housekeepers, I don't have one, but they pretty much know your entire life, and they know where everything in your house is. They know all about you. So if anything was to ever happen, the housekeeper or the butler would know.
Smaller shelves right here. And then there was some long ones. Maggie used to keep her clothes on these. And then there was a shorter one, kind of like little box looking, you know. Alex used to keep his clothes, his belts and stuff in that.
See how detailed she is? See how she knows every little intimate thing about this family? So she knew when something was out of order, is what I'm trying to say. So if the pots were in the refrigerator, when she knew Maggie for years would not do that, would leave them on the stove, she knew Maggie didn't do it.
And then on top, there was also an area where he kept T-shirts. They were folded and they were kept on the shelf.
When you say T-shirts, I know what a T-shirt is, but I mean, were they T-shirts like I'm wearing right now, or were they T-shirts with pockets?
What does he mean he doesn't know what a T-shirt is? Come on, man. Oh my goodness.
Usually they would be T-shirts, like if they would go, like when you go to a restaurant and they have like the logo of those type of T-shirts. He had a big collection of those.
And would you put them on the shelf?
Yes, sir, I did.
Did you iron T-shirts?
Yes, sir, I did.
And you washed all the clothes?
Yes, I did.
Someone is washing your clothes, they see everything. They see your panties, your socks, your bras, everything. She knew everything about this family. She knew intimate details about this family, so she can tell these prosecutors if something was out of order. And something was out of order.
Did he have a certain place that he kept shorts versus long pants?
Yes, sir. When you walk in the master bedroom, when you enter the master bedroom, the bed was right here. At the foot of the bed, you had a dresser here and a dresser here. The right dresser on the top drawers were usually his underwear, his socks. The next drawer was his T-shirts. On the bottom drawer were the pajama pants that he would wear or his shorts that he would wear to sleep in. In the left drawer, and one sits on this side of the door going into the bathroom, and the other one's right here. On the left dresser, he kept his white T-shirts that he would wear under when he wore a suit. He would wear, the T-shirts were in one of those drawers. And then the other two drawers were shorts.
You see how she remembers all this stuff? She's their housekeeper for years, but she knows all of their intimate details. To know where someone keeps a white T-shirt and shorts and slacks, my.
The dressier shorts, and then the not so dressier shorts. You know that.
So you testified a shirt looked like it had fallen when you saw it this morning?
Yes, sir.
June 8th, 2021, okay. Was it still clean?
Yes, sir.
Did you put it back?
Yes, sir.
My boss, Don Zelenka, just reminded me that the food that you cooked, did you look and see how much was eaten in the pots?
No, sir, I did not.
Now, you said there was a damp towel. Where was that?
In the closet on the floor.
And I know what damp means, but when you touched it, did it feel,
It was damp.
what did you do with it?
Took it to the laundry room.
And you said there were some pants there.
Yeah, so there's a pair of khakis by the shower.
And what'd you do with those?
Took them to the laundry room.
Did you wash them?
Yes, sir.
These prosecutors were on it, honey. They didn't miss anything. All right, guys. And that was that. That was just an excerpt of testimony from the housekeeper, Blanca. She said she had a funny feeling. Things just didn't sit right with her when she walked into that house. Alex Murdaugh. All right, guys, he was found guilty. We will continue the reading of the final 2 chapters in the next video, and then we'll get into some other things regarding this case. We will cover it, and when I say cover it, we're going back in time and to review some things. Thank you again for the content creator supporter that asked me to do this. I appreciate it. All right, guys, make sure you like this video, thumbs it up, and share it out. Let's get this in the algorithm. Thank you.